Good evening, everyone. We will call to order the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee for July 23rd, 2024 at 6:45 in the evening. And Madam Clerk, if we can have roll call and posting of the agenda, please.
Member Madrigal,
Here.
Member Zaragoza,
Here.
Chair McDonald.
Here.
We have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall Bulletin Board on July 16, 2024.
Thank you very much. Member Madrigal, would you be willing to lead us in the flag salute, please?
Please stand. Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That takes us to item B, public comments on items not on the agenda. This will be the time and place for the public to make comments on items under the purview of this committee, but not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Chair McDonald, we have 3 public speakers, and I put them on the dais for you.
They're all on D2 though, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair McDonald, that's correct. So we have no public speakers for this item.
Okay, thank you very much. Takes us to item C, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes. Have the members had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item?
Chair McDonald, we have no speakers, virtually or in person, for this item.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion by Mayor Zaragoza, second by Member Mondragon. Please vote, or roll call, please.
Member Madrigal,
Aye.
Member Zaragoza,
Aye.
Chair McDonald.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, it takes us to item D1 from the Police Department. Subject is drone as a first responder, and the recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee receives and files a report by the Police Department on drone use and authorizes the Police Department staff to explore the development of a drone as a first responder plan for the city of Oxnard. Pursuant to Measure M, there was a pre-recorded presentation on the city's YouTube channel, and it's not Chief Benitez, but we got someone here from PD. Do the committee members have any questions for the staff?
Yeah, the officer, the good presentation, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
And so we have 10 drones now, is that what it is? And we want to add more drones. And also, can you talk about what is a nest?
Yes, so currently we do have 10 UAVs or drones in our UAS fleet that are operated by our pilots. We actually have 7 aircraft that are operated by our 10 pilots. And the idea with Drone as a First Responder is expanding the service to include these UAS nests. What a nest is a remotely operated automated box that can contain a UAS or a drone inside. And then this box can be activated remotely from a remote command center at the police station by a licensed police officer pilot. And upon activation, the top of the box will open, the drone will activate, and then be able to fly and launch from that remote position.
And I understand that drone, when it comes in and lands, it charges automatically, is that correct?
Correct. It lands right back in the nest. The nest will close to protect it from the elements, and then it'll charge automatically.
And are we going to work with other agencies with the drones?
We have worked with our partner agencies here in the city. We've assisted the fire department on multiple operations. We assist the planning department and some of the other agencies. And then we've worked with our neighboring police agencies, including the Port Hueneme Police Department, the Ventura and the Ventura County Sheriff's Office.
And the drones were used during the fireworks in the 4th of July
They were.
throughout the city.
Yes, and they've been highly effective for the past several years in fireworks enforcement as well.
And my understanding at the time that the drones were actually located where the fireworks was coming from, and potentially maybe those folks could have gotten a citation for, did we implement that at all?
Yes, and it's been a proven tool that's effective in fireworks enforcement. It avoids a potential contentious encounter between the officers and the people at the moment of the 4th of July when they're involved in the festivities. The officers through the drone can identify where the drones are being launched and then reach out later and contact those individuals and issue citations if that's appropriate.
And one of the last things, Mr. Chair, was that some of the concerns that people had, I haven't heard any more, is that the drones are used to spy in somebody's backyard and so forth. I don't think that was the intent of the drones at all.
No, we specifically in our policy have been clear to prohibit that and to make sure that we had no issues with anything as far as violating anybody's privacy.
That's right.
In addition, in the 5 years we've been operating our UAS program, we've had 0 complaints regarding drone use at all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Madrigal, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And my understanding is that we use the drones pretty extensively in the fire at Colonia Road and Oxnard Boulevard when the packing house was on fire and it was unsafe to send people inside at any time. We were able to use the drones to get in and look around, make sure there were no people that needed assistance. Is that correct?
Yes, the UAS is able to get an aerial view. They can zoom in, show our partners at the fire department exactly what is going on in the middle of the fire, maybe out of view from the street to avoid having to send a human in that place. And then also we can assist using thermal imaging and showing them where some hot spots are and help them with their suppression measures.
Thank you. I think it's important that people understand that these devices are used a lot of times to protect personnel resources and lives and safety of the first responders. So it's very important. I do have one request to speak, Mr. Brian Rodriguez.
Okay. I want to start off and say I am a huge fan of innovation in the public sector. I think it's great when agencies bring new and bold ideas to the table. However, I think there's a reason why this program has not caught on, and I find it unfortunate that Oxnard would be the first not only in Ventura, but Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo County to implement this program. I don't think Oxnard should be the guinea pig or the test dummy for this experiment. There's an article in Cal Matters titled, Chula Vista tried to withhold police drone footage and then a Latino newspaper fought back. Long story short, the Chula Vista program is currently caught up in litigation. It was also not mentioned in the staff report how much this would cost, but I think it cost about $1 million in Chula Vista to get the program off the ground, and I think that money could be used elsewhere. I also think it's terrible that some of the wealthiest communities in our city are being excluded from the department's proposed map, yet all of South Oxnard and all of La Colonia are being included. Our beach community with some of the richest and most organized residents are completely outside of the proposed implementation area. I don't know if that was done intentionally, but it just so happens that these are the residents who have been organizing and raising hell about the Ventura County Airport Authority with regards to flight patterns and having aircrafts over their properties. Yes, this department has excluded them from this plan and is going to have the rest of the city deal with thousands of drone flights over the rest of the city. Lastly, I have yet to see the department come to council with any short-term or long-term staffing plan or workload analysis plan that would warrant this. I think when people call the police, they want to see an officer, talk to an officer, and not a drone. I think police officer should mean, or police response should mean officer response, and council should make that delineation clear. I think when most people call an officer, or I think most people want more officers being hired, and when companies add technology to their organization, that typically means less employees. So I hope management isn't looking to substitute drones for officers. Oxnard is not Chula Vista. We aren't LA. We aren't San Diego or the Bay Area. I think this technology could stay there. Ventura County is the safest, largest county in the state of California. But I will say one thing that the Chula Vista Police Department has done right is they have a police accountability board. They have a different name, but they have citizens kind of provide oversight for programs like this. And so should this move forward, I hope council makes it clear that we don't skimp out on the transparency, and should this move forward, really come back also with a recommendation of maybe providing some sort of citizens oversight commission that can make sure that there are proper transparency dashboards and ways the public could get a hold of information with regard to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any other requests to speak on this item?
Chair McDonald, we have no additional speakers, virtually or in person, for this item.
Okay, thank you very much. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion by the mayor, second by Member Madrigal. A vote, please.
Chair McDonald, can you vote on the machine?
I guess I could, but the question is, will I? Yes. Please vote on your tabulators.
I use mine.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Takes us to item number 2, Community Development Department. Overview of the Clean Power Alliance, also known as CPA, Voluntary Reach Codes Program. And the recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing, and Development Committee, 1, receive and file the information provided in the staff report, and 2, make a determination that the city should not participate in the CPA Reach Codes program. And pursuant to Measure M, there was a pre-recorded presentation on the city's YouTube channel. And Mr. Pengilly, did you want to make any opening comments? Or?
Thank you, Chair. Committee members, I'd like to introduce Kathleen Mallory. She has some opening remarks to make.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to just give some context for this. This is an item where we heard from the community in December and then earlier in 2024, requesting that the city consider the Reach Code, the Clean Power Alliance Reach Code program. Staff's recommendation is that this item be received and filed this evening and that it not advance to council for consideration. This is really due to 5 primary reasons, which are outlined in the staff report. First is, and importantly, the city's climate action and adaptation plan established a very clear pathway for how we can meet our greenhouse gas emission targets. And that question of should we adopt REACH codes was contemplated during that CAP public engagement process. That being brought forward to council established a very clear pathway to how we would meet our greenhouse gas emissions goals. Second, the California Progressive Energy Codes and building standards are moving towards energy standards that are really geared at at driving energy efficiency. So the trend is anticipated to continue, and with each new code adoption cycle, it's very clear that carbon neutrality in the state's regulations will be pushed. It's a mandate, carbon neutrality by 2045, and it's very clear that the state regulations will advance towards that goal progressively every building code cycle. Third, in terms of the Clean Power Alliance Reach Code program, there are many unknowns in terms of that program, in terms of cost, and that would be both to owners as well as tenants. And there are significant unquantifiable GHG numbers that are identified in the materials that have no backing, and we haven't been able to determine the validity of those. Fourth, the CPA's existing building pilot program is in its infancy, self-admitted from the CPA, and there are no reported outcomes at this time. The new construction mixed fuel Reach Code program would go beyond Title 24 building code. However, the greenhouse gas emission benefits of implementing that CPA mixed fuel Reach Code program is not known, and as I mentioned, is not quantified. And finally, we're recommending that Oxnard not implement the all-electric Reach Code program, since mixed fuel building designs are optimal for increasing energy redundancy and resiliency, and we've already established that that is already allowed in the California Building Code. So we're happy to answer questions and speak to the CAP document as well as the building code standards. I also wanted to introduce Ashley Barden, our sustainability analyst with the city, and we're here as a team to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, just from way of some housekeeping here, I do have 3 emails, one from Francis Lee, another from Farrah Stack, and a third from Ann Dorsey, which were delivered through your office. I would just ask that these are made a part of the record for this meeting.
Yes, Chair McDonald, that's correct.
Thank you. And I also have a request, virtual speaker, Jessica Gonzalez, is she available?
Yeska is currently not available virtually or in person.
Okay. Then I will go to the next list of speakers. First speaker is Joe Connett. Mr. Connett, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Joe Connett. I'm a registered civil engineer with years of experience in sustainable development. I lived in Oxnard for 12 years and currently volunteer each week doing food distribution in Oxnard. My sister and brother-in-law live in Oxnard, and I'm here speaking for the Sierra Club chapter, which includes Oxnard. My connections with Oxnard are long and deep, and as such, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for your service over many years. Sunday was the hottest day in recorded history. The climate crisis is here and getting worse. Reach codes are an effective tool to fight the crisis. I watched with interest the analysis of reach codes from Ms. Mallory and Ms. Barden. They're clearly dedicated sustainability professionals. However, their presentation contained some misunderstanding and misinterpretation of how a reach code would work here, and how a reach code would benefit Oxnard both financially and its commitment to climate change by reducing greenhouse gases. Here are just a few. The presentation discusses new and existing buildings. Proposed reach code approach is only for new construction. Existing buildings wouldn't be considered. They mentioned the decision related to reach codes in Berkeley. The Berkeley Code used a specific approach that was rejected by the courts. The reach code for Oxnard would use a different approach, one that has been successfully used by communities across California. They have concern about financial impact. The Clean Power Alliance would not only provide free technical and code writing support to develop and implement the reach code, but also a grant of $12,500 to pay for staff time required to implement the reach code and manage the reach code. A reach code is a cost-effective way for Oxnard to align with state climate neutrality goals, increase EV adoption, improve air quality, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In light of what are clear benefits to the citizens of Oxnard from a reach code, I'm here to ask the council to work with the Clean Power Alliance to implement a reach code in Oxnard for the construction of new buildings. The Clean Power Alliance since 2019 has provided 100% clean energy to the city of Oxnard. If you're unable to decide to implement reach codes tonight, in light of the misunderstandings in the presentation you've received, I ask at the least that you gain a full understanding of the benefits for a reach code by scheduling a reach code presentation by the Clean Power Alliance. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Next speaker I have is Wesley Martinez.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Wesley Martinez. I'm a graduate student at UCSB's Bren School of Environmental Science and Management, and this summer's graduate policy intern at the Community Environmental Council, and a resident of Ventura County. I'm excited to be here today to support agenda item number 2 and the city's joining of the CPA's Reach Code program. There are many reasons to move forward and stride with the CPA that have been addressed this evening. To briefly call out a few: environmental justice for lowering indoor exposure to NOx and its associated health risks, staying ahead of state regulations like the 2025 upcoming update to the building code, protecting climate for the future health and prosperity of constituents that are yet too young to vote, and avoiding the sunk cost of investment in fossil fuel infrastructure that is being shut out of the market simply due to good old-fashioned market economics, to say nothing of the state's commitment to renewables. There can be no justification for passing on the cost of infrastructure that will be soon superseded by cleaner and less expensive options to the public. As for the CPA, they have an excellent team that is ready to support the city's efforts. Furthermore, they have model reach codes that enable easy integration and account for the outcome of the Berkeley case. If these reasons weren't enough, the CPA has funding available to assist program participants to the tune of $12,500. Given the goals laid out in the city's climate action plan, taking advantage of these resources and expertise offered by the CPA is a choice that combines environmental responsibility to the community with fiscal responsibility to the city offices you hold in trust. Once again, I reiterate my support for this Reach Code program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Farah Stack.
Good evening, Chair McDonald, committee members, and staff. My name is Farah Stack, Senior Policy Associate with the Community Environmental Council, or CEC. CEC is a climate action nonprofit with a mission to reverse the climate crisis and build a more resilient California Central Coast. We work across Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. I am here today to urge the committee to join the Clean Power Alliance's Reach Code program for building electrification and transportation. This no-cost program offers a $12,500 financial incentive for the city and will develop an electrification code for new construction specifically tailored to the city's and community's needs. Building electrification is a cost-effective and low-risk strategy for decarbonizing buildings. Reach codes can help Oxnard achieve its climate goals, reduce construction costs, save energy, improve indoor air quality, enhance affordable housing, and given that Oxnard is in the fastest-warming county in the contiguous United States, it is crucial for the city to act decisively and take advantage of the free resources provided by the CPA. Delaying action could result in the installation of equipment that will soon need replacement, wasting taxpayer money. Currently, approximately 22% of Oxnard's greenhouse gas emissions come from natural gas, usually used mainly for space and water heating in residential buildings. Adopting a REACH code for new construction would encourage the use of high-efficiency heat pumps, making buildings more energy efficient, safer, and healthier. This approach aligns with the city's sustainability goals to reduce reliance on natural gas and promote a greener, more resilient community. Despite legal challenges from the fossil fuel industry, such as the lawsuit against the city of Berkeley, there are still viable legal pathways for prioritizing building electrification and energy efficiency. Cities like Encinitas, San Jose, Santa Cruz, and our neighboring Central Coast city, San Luis Obispo, have enacted fuel-neutral ordinances that require higher energy performance standards regardless of the power source. As the largest city in the county of Ventura, Oxnard has a really significant opportunity to lead in climate and health initiatives, particularly benefiting low-income communities and communities of color that are already burdened by fossil fuel infrastructure. Adopting a building electrification REACH code before the 2025 code cycle update is really essential for climate action. Early adoption will position Oxnard as a climate action leader, reduce emissions sooner, and ease future compliance. While natural gas appliances are often perceived as more reliable during power outages, they also rely on electric ignition and can be affected by power failures. Moreover, natural gas supplies are typically shut off during emergencies to prevent hazards. And Oxnard hasn't really experienced any PSP events since 2018, indicating a stable power supply and grid. And investing in these solutions allows the city to transition to electrification without compromising resilience or reliability. CEC strongly urges the committee to join the CPA REACH Code program, and if this item does move forward, we would really appreciate a formal presentation by the Clean Power Alliance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and before we continue, I will declare some ex parte comments, communications that I had with Ms. Stack and a working partner of hers regarding this, and I'll ask if any of the other committee members
Excuse
had any
me,
ex
Chair
parte
McDonald.
communications.
Excuse me.
I'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
I did meet with Ms. Stack.
I'm sorry?
I did meet with Ms. Stack.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Now, any other speakers?
Yes, we have one virtual speaker. Caller with phone number ending in 7456, please press star 6 to unmute and introduce yourself if you like, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Maria Navarro, and I'm a senior policy advocate at COS. As you all know, COS is committed to supporting initiatives which will address environmental justice challenges affecting our community. We believe that the CPA's REACH Code program is one of these initiatives. Fossil fuel and commercial and residential buildings alone make up roughly 25% of California's greenhouse gas emissions, fueling the climate crisis. Building electrification may reduce the cost of single-family and multifamily apartment building construction, create significant growth in construction and HVAC installation, and reduce the average household energy bill significantly. As the largest city in the county, Oxnard has the opportunity to make major climate and health-forward contributions to improving the daily lives and futures of our residents. Oxnard particularly In Oxnard, particularly our low-income residents, our communities of colors, and communities that are overwhelmed by fossil fuel infrastructure. The city should take advantage of all opportunities to avoid building anymore. I'd also like to say that we appreciate the work that both Ms. Kathleen and Ms. Ashley and all staff really in Oxnard City do, and we'd like to challenge just a little bit the city to take a bold step forward and be proactive in innovating and being a steward of this change, rather than waiting passively for state standards to change. I also echo Ms. Staggs and everybody else's calls for having a CPA presentation if the city were to, or the committee were to not move forward with this recommendation today. But again, I urge you to recommend that the city of Oxnard join the REACH Code program and join cities like Slope. And by doing so, Oxnard can position itself as a climate forward city that prioritizes the health and safety of its community and environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any additional speakers?
Chair McDonald, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up for comments from the panel. Mayor?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just, first of all, I want to thank all the speakers. I think all the speakers mean well. We're all looking to reduce, pollution and reduce GHGs. But one of the concerns that I have is in slide number 2, it says the existing building construction REACH Code program is in its infancy and considered a pilot program. And my understanding here in the city of Oxnard that we are looking at, we currently have the mixed fuel building program here in the city of Oxnard that meets the green building codes. And the other concern that I have is the litigation that's happening across California. For example, Encinitas, Mountain View, Palo Alto, they had all this REACH Code based, and now they're in court, and also Berkeley, Palo Alto, so my recommendation, or really what I'm looking at, is basically towards slide 14, where staff recommends at this time that the city not participate in REACH Code program at this time, but to follow and track the code performances in the coming years for additional data, and then at that time, REACH codes can be reevaluated as a strategy as part of the CAP, the CAP, and general plan update, which is going to be commencing right about 2026. And my understanding is that the state is following or coming out with some guidelines that potentially we can follow the guidelines as opposed to getting in front of the state guidelines and have to retract again with the REACH codes program. So I right now I have some concerns regarding that, especially if it's an infancy and pilot program code. So I believe that Oxnard should be the person that should be trying out those programs without any additional guidelines or data to back it up. And my understanding is potentially it will cost the low-income community more money if some of those items are implemented, and the landlords and those folks have not really passed down the savings down to to the renters and residents and so forth. So I believe that we need a little bit more information before we jump into it and see what the state comes up with, regarding this program. I think it's a good program. I really respect a lot of the folks that want to help us clean our air, which I believe in too, but I think we need a little bit more information before we jump into this program and get more data that's going to help the community potentially follow what the state's going to come up and look at the general plan update in 2026. So that's my concern at this time.
Member Madrigal?
Thank you. Thank you for presentation and everyone who came to speak on this. Looking at this, you do see, something that is very well-meaning, something that is kind of, in a way, clouded, and, agreeing with the mayor, Oxnard, sometimes good and bad. We like to kind of take the lead. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it doesn't. This is one of the ones where we can, but then we may have to retract based on state guidelines, something where the state is going to eventually. And I truly do believe that we should probably wait on it till 2026. But when that time does come, and hopefully, we kind of get a little bit ahead of it, and then just kind of actually, if they want to, have the CPA come do a presentation for us along the way. Maybe sometime in 2025 to see how, it's going before we get to that 2026 date.
Okay, thank you. Just on a personal note, I agree with the concept and the idea and the approach, but having gone through this exercise on my own house, and I started in about June of last year putting solar on our house, and I'm still periodically having issues, not so much with the equipment or anything else, but with a company that understands all the technology that's involved in these types of programs. And I'm to the point where my system now, after about almost 10 months of operation, is finally working the way it should. But periodically stuff happens that I have to call and ask for help on, and the installer usually doesn't have the answer. So I'm not sure that we're ready to go through this. I'm blessed in that my system generates more electricity than what I use to run my house. So I haven't had an Edison bill in probably 10 months. And it's always to the negative. I'm always getting an $8 credit, $10 credit, whatever. But the trials and tribulations getting to that point were really pretty miserable, between having a trench in my driveway for 3 months while they undergrounded all the equipment, having all the equipment work, and then when it malfunctions, having to call someone from the LA area who was the installer and waiting a day or two for them to get up here. And it concerns me a little bit that if we jump in too soon on something like this, we're going to create a nightmare for a lot of folks when we move forward with this. My wife has a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It's set up to where it charges between 1 and 4 in the morning. It's absolutely a nice system, and I like it. But with all the revelations of new equipment, new systems, software, and all kinds of stuff that I don't understand, it can be a real challenge. My system about 3 weeks ago decided just to go offline on its own accord. And it wasn't recording, wasn't doing anything. And I called the company and they said, well, it's producing electricity. And I said, well, maybe it is for you. I'm not sure it is for me because I can't see anything. And she said, oh, it's real simple. Just go out and do a complete power reset on your system. And I had to explain to the young lady on the phone, as you're talking with somebody that doesn't have a clue what a power reset is on this system, other than there's warning tags all over. It says high voltage, shock danger, 480 volts. That's the last thing that I want to be messing with as a person, not knowing what I'm doing. And so it was a little frustrating. I was finally able to get it back online, so I would share the mayor's concerns of, I think it's the right thing to do in the right direction, but I don't want to jump too prematurely at this point.
We're not ready.
So, I'll ask, what's the pleasure of the committee?
I'd like to make a motion that we have, I'd like to make a motion that we accept staff's recommendation and receive and file, provide with a staff report, and also determine the city should not participate in the CPA REACH code program at this time, but potentially we can look at it in the future.
Okay.
Second?
Second?
Yeah.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a recommendation to receive and file and not proceed forward with this at this time. And a second by Member Madrigal, please vote.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, that will be the order.
Okay.
I apologize, we're having a little bit of a sidebar there, but it's not related to the meeting, so. Yeah, I know. I was gonna move to adjournment if there's no other items for future agendas.
Okay.
None.
None? That will take us to adjournment at 7:22. Madam Clerk, we are adjourned. Thank you all.